Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about mole calculations. We're going to have a look at how to find the number of moles in a particular substance, and we're going to have a look at mole calculations when we're talking about solutions. So we might get a question which is like this: how many moles are there in 66 grams of carbon dioxide, of CO2? Now, whenever we have a question like this, we can use this equation triangle right here. Now, first of all, let's figure out what these three things mean. N just means number of moles. Now, we need a little recap quickly about what moles means. Now, all that a mole is a number of particles, an amount of particles. A mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23. So it's a really, really big number. So that's just saying how many particles there are in total. The M stands for mass. Now, whenever we're dealing with moles, the units for mass is always grams opposed to kilograms. And finally, MR, this stands for relative formula mass. Now, this could also stand for relative atomic mass, but because this one is a molecule rather than an element, this particular question is to do with relative formula mass. So let's see how this works. Now, if I'm looking to find the number of moles, to use this equation triangle, I'm going to cover up that, and I'm left with M over MR. So M divided by MR. Now, before I could do this, I've got to find my relative formula mass of carbon dioxide. So let's just have a quick think. Now, in CO2, I have one carbon atom and two oxygen atoms. So I need to find the total relative atomic mass of both, of these elements, and add them together. So here's where my periodic table comes in handy. I could see that carbon has a mass of 12, and oxygen has a mass of 16. So what I need to do is 12 plus, because I've got two oxygen atoms, I need to do 16 times 2. Now 16 times 2 is 32, plus 12 is 44. So I've now found my relative formula mass of CO2. So what I need to do now to find the number of moles, so how many particles there are, I need to do my mass divided by my relative formula mass. So my mass in the question is right here, and my so what I need to do to find my number of moles, so number of moles is 66, because it's divided by 44. So my number of moles in this case is 66 divided by 44. So I'm just going to do that in a calculator. 66 divided by 44, which equals 1.5. So my number of moles is 1.5 moles. What that means, just so we can make sense of what that actually means, is in 66 grams of CO2, there are 1.5 times this many particles. That's just what that means. Now, there's one type of calculation. We might also be asked about calculations when we're dealing with a solution. So, for example, 25 grams of copper sulfate is dissolved in 500 centimetres cubed of water. What is the concentration? Now, whenever we have a solution, so something dissolved in water, we use this equation triangle instead. Again, we have M, which stands for mass. And again, because we're dealing with mole calculations, the units are in grams. The volume, now whenever we're dealing with these, we have volume, but whenever we're doing mole calculations, the volume is in decimeters cubed rather than centimeters cubed. So we're going to have to do a conversion in a minute. There's our volume. And finally, we have C, which stands for concentration. Now, our units for concentration, because we have grams divided by over decimeters cubed, the units are grams per decimeters cubed. So let's have a quick think. We're looking to find the concentration, and right here there is our mass. So before we can do this calculation, we need to convert this into decimeters cubed. So to convert centimeters cubed to decimeters cubed, we divide by 1,000. So 500 divided by 1,000 equals 0.5 decimeters cubed, half a decimeter cubed, okay? I'm now ready to find my concentration. So to find the concentration, it's the same as using any equation triangle. I cover up the thing I'm looking for and I calculate with the two things I've got left. So in this case, it's going to be my mass divided by my volume. So my concentration is going to be my mass, which is 25, divided by my volume, which is 0.5. So I'm going to do that on my calculator just to double check. Remember, even if you think you could do it in your head, always do a calculator to use the calculator to double check. 25 divided by 0.5 is 50. So my concentration is 50, and remember the units for concentration is grams per decimeter cubed. So that's how to complete mole calculations. When you're trying to find the moles, number of moles of a substance, we use this equation triangle here. And whenever we're trying to find the moles, when we're talking about a solution, you use this equation triangle here. And remember to always convert your volume to decimeters cubed. Thank you.